I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. How many officers is here? And I see one person. I'm like, this supposed to be me?
Was it hard to be as young as you were working at Rikers Island?
That probably was the most challenging thing.
What's something that the public doesn't know about Rikers Island that you think they should know about? Mike Marcus grew up in the Bronx and at just 21 years old became a corrections officer on Rikers Island, one of the most dangerous jails in America. For 5 years, he worked inside the chaos, dealing with inmates, violence, and the daily pressure that few on the outside ever see. Today, Mike shares the raw truth about what it's really like to be a guard on Rikers, the biggest misconceptions about corrections, and why he ultimately walked away from the job. Mike, welcome to Locked In, man. Thanks so much for coming today.
Nah, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for having me, for sure, man.
Yeah, of course. You came from the city, right?
Yeah. Well, coming from Westchester County.
Oh, that's where you live now?
Yeah, that's where I live now,
Okay.
but I'm from the Bronx, though, originally.
Okay. Did you live in Westchester when you were working at Rikers?
No. I was living in the Bronx at that time.
I was going to say that's a little bit of a commute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would have been, coming from Westchester, it'd probably be like an hour away.
Why'd you pick Westchester?
Just to change the environment, mostly because, coming from the Bronx, I'm from the Bronx. So for me, environment is big. I actually learned that, just we're working at Rikers in general. Like environment plays a big part on, as we always say, like why people are successful or become successful. So I just realized like, all right, why not live in a better area, right? I'm from the Bronx and everything, and I could stay there, but why not get around different types of people and, just make me, I would just say, think clearer thoughts and just put me in a different space.
Tell us about what it was like to grow up in the Bronx, your childhood.
My childhood. So it was rough. I mean, everything that people basically, I guess, hear about on TV or see, I mean, it's pretty much was my childhood. So I grew up on Cedric Avenue. That's in the Bronx, and the home of hip hop. They changed it to Hip Hop Boulevard now, but it's the High Bridge area. So pretty much for me, it's tough. I mean, you talking about going to school down the block, I had 229. That was the school I went to. And I think the toughest part, realistically, is I think remaining who you are. Because a lot of people, I done seen them lose themselves, even at a younger age, trying to follow, everybody want to be cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think, when you want to be cool, sometimes you end up not cool, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And then now people, it's now like, oh, he's a follower. People notice followers and stuff. So for me, I think that was like the toughest challenge, but it wasn't as tough for me because I just think being myself is the best thing I could ever decide to do.
Do you think you fell into that, or were you able to avoid that pattern?
So I think I avoided it. Did I fall into it in some shape or form? Yeah. At certain things, I probably gotta give you an example. So let's just say at the time frame, maybe fashion, right? Naturally, you're looking at everybody wearing, let's say, Biggie's, Pals, and yada yada, right? The fashion at the time frame. You fall in, you want to wear that stuff, of course, because you want to be considered in style or you want to hear compliments, things like that. So, yeah, in some shape or form I did. I just never went over the top. So I never did something I couldn't do. Let me just say that. Like, if I could do it, I'd do it. But if I never like the half-ass things, you know what I mean? I curse on here, right? It's okay. Yeah, I don't curse too often, but I just want to know. But, I don't like the half-ass things. So my thing is if I can't do something, I'm not going to do it.
What do your parents do for work?
So my mom, she's a manager at UPS. She's been there for forever. And my dad, he's a barber. So he's been doing that my whole life too, pretty much.
What were your friends like in school? Were they kind of the same person as you, or did you have a very diverse group of friends?
Yeah, well, it's cool because my close friends still to this day, it was my friends back then. I lucked up, to have 10 plus years of friendship. And yeah, they're very similar to me, where, like I said, they lean in a bit on certain things, but most things they would be like, nah, that ain't for me. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? People still respect them. People still love them. And it pretty much worked out, just us being ourselves. And then I guess that's how we found each other. And then we stuck with each other because we realized that's what we had in common.
Did any of them go down a bad path, or everyone kind of stayed on the straight and narrow?
Nah, nobody went down a bad path. It's so crazy because none of us, I think technically, even myself, I had got in trouble at a point in time when I was like, I think I was 18. Yeah, I was 18 over a fight. I was with one of my close friends. All we did was go for a jog, and long story short, it went left. But it wasn't due to us. It was just the circumstance, and the guy wouldn't want to walk away, so we ended up fighting, and then we got arrested that day. That was the worst day of my life, by the way. I said, you know what? I'm never gonna fight again. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? I ended up getting locked up for a weekend, pretty much, and it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? But that was the first and last time I ever been arrested, anything like that. And even for him, that was his first and last time. So, like I said, most of us, they been pretty much straightforward. They was good.
Did they drop that charge from your record?
Yeah, over time, yeah, they did.
Because otherwise you probably wouldn't have been able to become a correctional officer.
No, I had it on my record.
Oh, really?
At the time, yeah, I did. It was what was it, a misdemeanor?
Okay.
A misdemeanor. As long as you don't got like a felony or anything, you're okay. And then at that time, it was so far back. So when I got into corrections, I was 21. Yeah, I was 21. So that happened when I was like 18. So I guess it was just a little gap. So pretty much, and it was a misdemeanor. So they allowed it. You know, it's up to them. They could determine to just let you go. I don't think I would have probably maybe made it into PD, because I think PD is tougher to make it in, from what I hear. I never applied, but.
How would you have described your character in high school?
Man, that's a great question. How would I describe my character? To sum it up, I would just say I'm a team player, you know, very optimistic, always wanted to help people. I think always just in a good mood, from what I always hear. I always felt that way too. But I think just always being known for being happy. And I just always wanted to be different, man. Different than the crowd.
What do you think was your best trait that would help you later on the job at Rikers Island?
The best trait that helped me on the job? I think just me being comfortable with me being me. I think that was the best thing, because when you're around someone in that environment, you're around a bunch of cool kids. This is the way I broke down like jail. So it's like high school. It's like high school again. It's probably even worse technically, but I grew up in the Bronx. So it's like when you walk into a housing area, it's like walking into the projects or walking into a neighborhood you're not from. Right? And everybody looking at you, they trying to fill you out, feel your energy, yada, yada. Same thing that'll happen in the streets. So at that point, they sizing you up, whatever the case is. So the whole thing is like they're waiting for you to be somebody else, because most people are trying to be somebody else or trying to fit in with them. But we're not here to fit in with them. We're here to be ourselves and do the job. So for me, it was just easy because, like I said, I think it was just my environment, my own, you know, personal experiences through high school, things like that. It wasn't hard to be myself because I dealt with this my whole life. It just was, now jail, the jail environment. So I just think personally, I just think being myself was the best thing.
What did you know about jail or even Rikers Island as a kid growing up in the Bronx?
You know, it's so crazy. First of all, I didn't know it as Rikers Island. I knew it as The Rock.
That's what they called it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, they call it The Rock. So I never knew what Rikers Island was really until and I basically heard of it, of course. I just didn't associate it when I was that young as that's Rikers Island because it was called The Rock.
So what were some of the rumors you would hear or the stories you would hear?
Just getting robbed. People always getting robbed. I think that was always a story like, yo, bro, I'm telling you, when you go there, just make sure, you know, you're not wearing this, and this. Like, it was like everybody didn't want to get robbed, especially at that time. Because I think when I was in high school, that probably was the worst time, I think, in the Bronx history of robberies. At least I feel that way. And I just think why I say that is because at that time frame, that's when Biggies and Pels and BB belts and stuff was in style, but it just seemed like everybody was getting robbed. They phones, that was just the time frame. It was just everybody getting robbed. And it's not necessarily like no gunpoint. Sometimes it just was like they was threatening to jump you or something, and you would just, you know, take your stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? People getting set up. So it was like the same stories I was hearing that I either saw in the streets or heard about in the streets was happening on Rikers Island. So I really think more or less that was the same stories that I was hearing.
What do you think was the best thing your parents did for you to keep you away from the street life?
The best thing? I would just say my mom. I think my mom would just, you know, having some type of time frame for me to be home, right? But she allowed me to be me. And I think that always made me want to be better or not disappoint her because she allowed it. Like, she allowed me to be me. She's like, hey, just make sure you're home at this time. So it's like, of course, I just try to rush because I never wanted to disappoint her. That was my thing for me on a personal note.
Now, in your opinion, say we take two individuals, two guests of the show that grew up in the Bronx. Why does one go into corrections and one goes to prison? If you guys grew up on the same street.
That's a great question. I just believe people are different, but people we have choices that we need to make, and that's at all ages, especially once we leave our mom. As you get a bit older, you're around your friends more than you're around your mom and your dad, right? So your friends have a major, major influence on you. So it really, your decision making is what would dictate whether or not you're going to decide to go to jail or end up going to jail, or you're going to make the decision to become a correctional officer, make the right decision. So I think all in all is really just the person, and the choices that they make. Time frames, right? We already know. I always used to hear my mom used to say, hey, you got to know, when to be somewhere, when not to be somewhere, right? Your friends, perfect example, I used to go outside. I'm playing basketball, playing football with my friends. This is a whole collective group of people. So meaning it's people that just like me, they just here to play ball. But then you got the gangsters playing ball with us too. So what I'm saying is at that point, once it's over, what the gangsters do, they still outside. They still doing whatever. They want to go somewhere else. They want to go to some other neighborhood. They want to do whatever they want to do. And at that point, I have a curfew, let's just say. Most of us did. Some people went home. Some people didn't. So, but it was all choice, So I just think making the right choice.
When did it pop up in your mind for the first time to become a correctional officer?
So it never just randomly came to my mind, by the way. I was actually got introduced to it. So at the time frame, my dad was dating a woman, and she was a captain on Rikers Island at the time. And she was the one that was like, hey, Mike, I was selling real estate, and she was just like, hey, why don't you just do both? You're young, people's going to like you, it's going to work for you. Like, trust me, I've seen all walks of life do this job, so that I know you could do it, you cool, like, you know what I mean? And you're young, you could just secure both, right? Secure a pension, and you could still sell real estate. And I just was like, you know what, I'll go take the test. She actually paid for me to take the test. I took the test, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I took the test, whatever the case is, to go become a correctional. She was like, oh, that's good. And she didn't think nothing of it either. She was like, oh, to get city jobs take a long time. So I was like, oh, yeah. Well, I just wanted to let you know I took the test. I passed it, too. I only got like a 73 or something. And they called me in 4 months, though. So I think that's what blew my mind. I was like, damn, wait, hold on. I'm really about to become a correctional officer. And at that point, it was no turning back. I just said, you know what? I'm going to utilize the job to help me get to where I really want to be in my life.
How much did the test cost, and what kind of questions are on there?
Damn. I think the test probably was like, maybe $50 or something like that. $50 to $75, I believe. It was something like that. And the questions that's on it, it's kind of general. One question I do remember, they show you a day room, and I didn't even know what a day room was, but they show you it. And they put like a clock, they put the officer, they put an inmate there, what else? And it's a day room, so it's a whole bunch of things going on. It's other incarcerated individuals in the room and everything. And then they may say, you'll stare at it for about 5 minutes, I think. It was like 5-10 minutes. You stare at it. And then the screen will go off, and they ask you numerous questions about what was going on in the room. I don't even remember that because that was just a crazy thing for me, because I'm like, all right, I'm standing at this picture. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what they're going to ask me. I'm trying to anticipate. I could never do it. And long story short, yeah, it goes on to the questions after that.
So now that you've actually gotten the job and went through all of that, do you understand now what that question was for?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just trying to see if you're paying attention. Because as an officer and an incarcerated individual, you need to be paying attention, because there's a lot that could be going on that could be putting your life in danger or somebody else.
So after high school, did you go to college, or you went right into real estate?
No, I went to college. I went to Nassau Community College on Long Island.
And you graduated?
Yeah, I graduated from there. Yeah.
Okay, and then got into real estate.
Yeah, got into real estate. So I had big football dreams, to be honest. I wanted to go to the NFL. That's the only thing I could have thought about. That kept me out of a lot of trouble, too, was playing football for me. Because all in all, I love the sport so much, man. All I did was play it. I watched it and played Madden all the time. So pretty much that's just what I live by, and I just told my mom one day, I said, Mom, I'm gonna buy you a house. You already know the line. I'm gonna buy you a house someday. I'm gonna take care of you. And at that time, to be honest, this was in 2014. I realized that, it's over. Like my time frame is coming to an end. I was telling her I didn't get another scholarship because Nassau Community College is a JUCO school. It was a top school though. And usually most of those kids will transfer to go to a D1 school or D2, to compete at a higher level and get noticed. That didn't happen for me. So at that point, I had to make a decision, not only for me, but I was making a decision also for my mom at the time. Because, she's like, oh, baby, don't worry. I could just pay for you to go to this next school I want to go to. But in reality, to be real, I never wanted my mom to pay for me to go to school. That was never the idea. Really, I was supposed to just get a scholarship. I wanted it to be free due to my talent. Now, is everybody that talented, or, do we have the grades to get scholarships? Most likely not coming from where we come from. We probably have the talent, but maybe the grades don't match, or vice versa. So, at that point, I just decided it was tough for me. It was tough for me because at that point, I just was like, I don't think I'm going to move on. You know what I'm saying? And to say that, it's like going back on my word on what I told my mom. So at that point, I just had a decision to make. I was real emotional about it, to be honest, because it was just, it's all I dreamed about. I didn't know nothing else to really do. And like I told you before, I don't want to live an average life. I don't want to be average. I never wanted to be that. I saw myself different. I feel like whatever I put my mind to, I can do, at a all-time level. You know what I'm saying? So ended up randomly coming across a YouTube video. You know this guy, Ty Lopez? You ever heard of him before?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
All right, Ty Lopez, man. He changed my life. I'm going to just tell him right now. I got to meet him someday. But I did his mentorship program. It's called 67 Steps. So basically, he said it takes 67 days to change a new habit and get rid of an old one. That's the program. So what he did is like a mentorship where he focuses on the 4 levels, the 4 pillars of life, which is health, wealth, love, and happiness. And he said that's the 4 pillars that everybody cares about. And he's like, listen, once you take this course, what's going to happen is your mindset is going to change, therefore you're going to change. And, at the time, this video was about, by the way, I was not watching nothing with Ty Lopez in it. This was an ad, but the ad was probably an hour long. I don't even know what made me sit there and watch that. Normally you skip it. But, this 2014, so YouTube is different at that time frame, right? So anyway, I literally just sat there and I watched it. I felt so, I don't know, I just felt so alive, like I had another chance. So I go in the room. I said, Mom, can I get $150? She's like, boy, if you don't get on my face. I'm like, nah, come on, Mom, please. This ain't for nothing. I was trying to explain this ain't for no nonsense. This is something that's going to hopefully help change my life. That's the goal. And I said, it's a mentorship program, and I was trying to show her hey, it's just this program. I don't want it to fizzle out, anything like that. She was like, all right, go get my pocketbook. So I got a pocketbook and I paid for it right then and there. Super excited. I don't got nothing else to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just literally sitting there, started the course, and literally, first thing he said, look, congratulations that you're in this course. You are literally on your way to change your life. And listen, when I tell you, this right here is possible for anybody. I don't care what your life looks like right now. You could change your life. So started the course, and basically one of the first things he mentioned, he said, look, everybody that's in your life, they may not stay in your life. But it's not due to you not wanting them to stay there. Your mindset is going to change over time. You're going to listen to these it was courses, basically, so it's audio. It was some that had video, and some of them was just audio. But he said you got to listen to this every single day, the same way you listen to music. And I'm telling you, I did this for 67 days straight. I'm on the train. I'm telling you, anywhere I went, I was just on the train. And his whole thing is don't skip neither. So you only do one a day. So it could settle in. And these are an hour long. But I'm telling you, literally, I'm going to say the first month, literally, me and my girlfriend I broke up with her at the time frame. I ran into my mentor, Jeff Williams, a.k.a. Jay Lorenzo, and he's always been in my life. He's the reason why I ended up getting into real estate. My dad was living with him at the time. I went up there like a normal Sunday, watching the football game, see my dad, see him, and I just asked him the right question, which was, yo, Jeff, what is it that you do? He was like, oh, I sell real estate and I work for Colgate. So I'm like, I heard of Colgate, of course, it's toothpaste. So I'm like, what's real estate? He was like, oh, you're standing in it. Now I'm like, I was totally lost. You know, I'm young. I'm 18 at the time, and I'm just like, he's like, yeah. He said, I'm gonna come right back. He's in a wheelchair, so he rolls to the back to his room. He comes back out. He showed me a check for $25,000. Now, you know, at come on, at my age, I'm like, whoa, hold on,
It's a lot of money, yeah.
It's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he's like, yeah, man, look, if I could do this, you could do this. You young, and people's gonna like you. Naturally, as any kid would do, I got excited. I say, yo, Jeff, is it possible for me to just go to my block real quick? I'm gonna tell my friends. Can you tell them the same thing you told me? You know what I'm saying? Because now, like I told you, I'm into helping. I'm like, if I know something, why not put my mans in them on? I ran all the way back. He was like, yeah. Literally, I ran home, actually. I don't live close. He lived in Harlem. I live in the Bronx. Literally jogged home, and I went to go get my friends. I told him, I said, yo, bro, listen, Jeff, y'all got to meet Jeff. Jeff is on some money stuff. We're going to change our life, all this good stuff. So 5 of us went back to his house that same night, and he told him the same thing he told me. But, he was like, yeah. So we was like, oh, how much is the course? He's like, I think at the time it was $150. It's a lot of 150s going on, but it was $150. It was on Groupon. So we like, okay, but we didn't have the money. So I'm like, Jeff was like, look, man, I would pay for you guys, but you guys aren't going to appreciate it. So I'm not going to do that. Y'all going to have to come in with the money. So I'm looking at Jeff like, yo, Jeff, why would you tell him that we don't got no money? You know what I mean? But anyway, long story short, I'm just like, well, we're going to have to find it, figure out how to get the money. I was the only one that came in with the money at that time frame. I was selling DVDs, and I was doing that throughout college. So I came in with the money that weekend. I gave Jeff, I told Jeff I got it. He showed me how to do it on Groupon, and I purchased it. I was the only one that ended up coming out with my license, during that time. I got closer with Jeff even during that time. He started mentoring me, coming and pick me up. And literally, remember, I'm still doing the Ty Lopez course as well. So literally, as it's fizzling out, it's like I was just transforming right in front of everybody's eyes, realistically. Like, I'm talking about the way I was dressing changed. So I started, wearing slacks or wearing polos, just changing my apparel because they said, you got to dress a certain way, even though you're not there yet, but start dressing like how you want to be treated or how you see yourself, right? So I just started to just change. I started to wear suits. My friends, I remember they invited, we used to go to Webb Hall all the time, right?
Webster Hall?
Webster Hall, yeah, I'm saying Webb Hall. So at that time frame, I used to go crazy. So my friends like, yo, we out this, I wasn't even going out at the time because I was studying for the test, right? They like, yo, bro, we out to the, to Webb tonight. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started to put on what I would normally put on, jeans and stuff. But I started thinking, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do it different this time. So I ended up throwing on a suit. Now we always stood on like a 4-way, 5-way. So while we're getting dressed, we like, yo, what you wearing? What you wearing? So I wasn't saying nothing at the time. So they're like, yo, Mike, you a funny nigga. What you wearing, bro? What you wearing? I'm like, chill, bro, chill. I got this new thing on, like, for the night. So they laughing or whatever. They like, all right, we gonna see whatever. So they all met me downstairs. I was the last one to come downstairs, and I had the suit on. And they like, nah, my boy lost his mind right now. So I'm like, nah, bro, it's all good. I said, my whole idea, I'm going like this because at the end of the day, they say black people all look alike anyway, right? So why not stand out, right? I want people to want to meet me. I'm tired of just going and trying to meet people, right? And it's like, maybe let's say girls at the time trying to meet girls, whatever case is, they treat you like anybody else. And I'm not just anybody else. That's how I personally feel. So I said, you know what? Let me start dressing the part. Like, you know what I mean? How it's supposed to be dressed. So that's what I started doing. And just little changes like that. And my friends even seeing things like that. And I think them even accepted me at that time frame. You know what I'm saying? And me keeping it up, right? Not being afraid to do that. It did a lot for me at that time. I'm telling you, man. It literally...
Mindset's everything.
It changed everything for me because it just all worked together. Like, it just... I couldn't believe what was happening. You know what I'm saying? Just a small story, right? I literally left. So I remember this was one day. I finished this 67-step program. Me and Jeff now, Jeff is picking me up here and there, coming in front of my house. He got the drop top BMW. So I'm looking like that. Guys, a lot of people outside, and I said, Jeff was like, oh, can you get me a water real quick? So I went to go get him a water. Deli was right there. I see my boy that met. So he always has his shirt off. We call him at the time, we was calling him like no shirt T, right? So anyway, he like, yo, Mike. He calling me, yo, Mike. He like, yo, what up? So anyway, I'm walking to the store anyway. But when I walk to the store, normally I'm like this with it, like trying to dap him up. And he gave me a handshake. That right there changed everything for me. I didn't even understand what was happening at that time, but it makes so much sense today because literally how he seen me is how I wanted to be seen. He had a different level of respect for me because based upon what he seen me doing. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We all from the same place. We in the same place. I was still living there at the same time. But something changed in his psychological, the way he started to see me. And that right then and there, I knew exactly. I'm like, oh, I'm on the right track.
So did you feel defeated or like you weren't chasing your dreams or passion when you decided to join corrections?
No. Corrections was a part of it became a part of the plan because instantly I said, oh, if I can go here and I can still, exactly what she told me. She said, hey, you can do both. I immediately just was like, that makes sense. I didn't think it was going to happen as fast. So when I got into corrections, I never took pictures or anything. You know how people graduate and stuff? I never posted that stuff online, ever.
Why?
Because I sold real estate. That's what I want people to know me for.
But so it wasn't a part of your image?
Never.
Is image important to you?
100%. It's everything.
Did you think like corrections was below what you wanted to be in life?
No. It's just that ultimately I was there to so that's a job, right? It's not something that I was a correctional officer, but it was something that didn't define me. It was a job. It was something that I'm like, all right, cool. It's a lot of people in here. They have money or they're making money or they're going to eventually be making money. They need my guidance in real estate. How do I get them to also respect me in that way?
It also has great perks. I mean, insurance, the pay is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, they getting paid.
It's a government job.
No, listen, man, they getting paid for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So my thing is this, the guidance. Everybody in there, it's people in there getting paid. It's a lot of people getting paid. But do they have the right guidance on what to do with the money or have the education behind certain things that really matter? Real estate matters forever. I don't care who you are, when you find out about it, it always mattered. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I'm going to go in here. I said, look, I know people in here, right? They're going to know me. I'm in here just like them, 16 hours a day, 17, whatever. We're partners. And my whole thing is we can have better conversations than just talking about the job. Because naturally, when you're sitting there, right, when it's downtime, as you know, it's downtime. What are you talking about? What, nonsense? Parties, right? Everybody want to party. Everybody want to know the next drink. When next time we going out to drink? You know what I'm saying? It's the same stories. Like, oh, what car I'm about to get? It's nonsense. What chain I'm going to get? Watch? It's nonsense. You know what I'm saying? But look, let's have a real conversation. Yo, you bought a property yet? You purchased something yet? Oh, I didn't even know. Yeah, how does that work? Now I'm here to answer the questions. A lot of us from our community in general is nervous to pick up the phone and reach out to people and say they need help or they need guidance.
And that's what gets a lot of people into trouble.
All the time.
I mean, we see that in most fraud cases too.
Yeah.
Normally people start off with good intentions and something happens that triggers it and they don't ask for help and it goes down the wrong path.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought to go in there and be like a trusted advisor. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted people to know that, hey, look, you got somebody that you could trust. I'm right here. I'm showing up tomorrow. I'll be right here. You know what I mean? We be fighting this battle together, but we can have better conversations about growing and being like, use the job as a platform, but it shouldn't define you. It shouldn't be all you're concerned about, because that's what that job does to you, especially, in Rikers. You spend so much time there. You're there more than you're home or doing anything else. That's just the reality on it, So if you never taking your mind out of that, then what? You just fill with the nonsense, right? The inmates is talking about what you're wearing. You got to think about that. And it's literally down to even like you're in the uniform and you still care about what people think. Yet we all wearing the same uniform. But how is it that we could look a little bit more jiggy than the other?
Well, that's why inmates do too. That's why they have the special shoes or the jewelry. Like they'll figure out ways to be a little bit better. That's why glasses are so big in prison. You got the guys wearing the Gucci glasses. I mean, they're probably fake, but still the G-Shock watches.
Yeah.
The boots are what always crack me up because you could wear special boots to the visit.
Yeah.
Guys would have their Timberland boots wrapped up in garbage bags, for their one visit a month underneath the bed, and they would just treat them like they're like a $5,000 pair of sneakers.
I'm telling you. But look, perception, because it mattered. even there, it matters. That's why I said image doesn't matter. It matters. It's everything.
I guess you have to use it for good, though. You can't let it consume you, you know?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say never let it consume. That's what but I'm saying image-wise where people's looking for respect. So why are you dressing this way? How could you look for respect from certain people, but you dress in this way? You get what I'm saying? It depends, I guess, on how you want to be looked at and who you want to be in this world. That's what really matters, right? I'm not here to tell you, what to be or anything. But whoever you want to be, listen, start dressing the part. Even if you don't have it right now, right? Maybe you want to be a multimillionaire. Even if you don't got it right now, I'm not telling you got to throw on certain clothes, but you could never go wrong with business attire. I say that to anybody. I learned that young, 2014, around that time. Literally, you can never go wrong with business attire because everybody respects that. Everybody.
Yeah.
Gangsters, it don't matter who you're talking about. Everybody respects
I've been doing better
attire.
with clothes, but I love my lounge days, my gym clothes. Right now I'm just in gym clothes. I love a good relaxing gym clothes day too, you know?
Yeah, no, and I love it too. I mean, I play sports. Shorts, and that's my style. Sweats and all. I love it too. I still do it to this day. But what I'm saying is, in reality, right, if you was going somewhere and you're like, you know what? All right, I don't want to be over the top, right? But I also don't want to be disrespected where people think I'm a joke. So guess what? I'm going to just throw on a little polo and, wear some nice little pants or whatever. You don't got to be in a business suit. But what I'm saying is just business attire. You can't go wrong with it. It's respectable for anybody that sees, that sees the person. That's what I'm just saying,
So you get the job at Rikers. Are you hesitant to take it? Because you thought it was going to be a lot longer process, and they got back to you within a few months.
No, I wasn't hesitant to take it. I just, actually I was at first because I'm like, damn, wait, is it too soon? Can I postpone it? Because I wasn't prepared necessarily to just jump and do that. I was doing real estate full time. And actually, I was doing real estate full time and I had a part-time job. I was working like 3 jobs, selling movies. I was doing it was crazy at that time. Yeah, just straight hustling. And, I had to just sit with myself. This is a good thing. I'm like, I could go on and just start this job. But then I'm like, damn, what happens to real estate? How could I do it? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't too sure. It hit me kind of fast. But I said, nah, I'm just going to take the job. And that's when I started figuring it out where I was like, all right, I still have time. They give you like a month and a half to like, oh yeah, you start this day to swear in, all this stuff. So I had enough time to think about it even if I wanted to stop it. So it was okay.
What did your parents think about it?
Ecstatic.
Thought they were happy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
They weren't like, it's dangerous or...
Nah, I play football, man. Football is more dangerous. I'm going to be real with you. And why I say that is just because if you could put on the helmet and pads and run into people, you know what I mean, over and over and over again, no matter how much it hurts or whatever, it's not really much, not to take away from jail or nothing, but it's like, if I could do something like that, I can work in it. I'm working there. I'm not in jail, Well, I'm in there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, did you go into it knowing you're not going to be one of those guys that retires from this job? Like this is just a stepping stone you're going to use to pursue your goals and dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the goal really was I was going to do 10 years there. That was my goal. I ended up only doing 5 though. But the goal was to do 10.
So do you think that affected your performance, having like an out date in mind, like when you're going to a job and you're not seeing a full future there?
Nah, my performance was still good. It's just the job is, it's pretty repetitive. The only thing that really changes is maybe going to a different house in there, but it's the same stuff. You're eating at the same time. They supposed to, lock in at a certain time. It's the same stuff going on. For me, I just hit a ceiling in corrections. That's why I left. It was a ceiling for me. I started off in the housing area, high classification housing area. Then I went on to work in the yard. So that's when I met the whole jail at that point. You everybody like to see you. Yo, Marcus, yo, my man. Like, you know what I mean? You become like the hero overnight. You know what I'm saying? That was really cool. And then from there, I ended up getting called to get into the PREA unit, the Prison Rape Elimination Act. So I ended up in headquarters.
Wait, is the PREA unit like for rape victims or for the people that do the actual raping, or is it just monitoring?
No, it's both.
Okay.
Well, technically, like kind of all. Yeah,
okay.
Basically. Yeah,
like the investigations, the victims, and the perpetrators.
Yeah, so even if somebody say, oh, yeah, I was touched yesterday, it's like we get a report in the morning, pop on the computer, it's like, we got to go to this jail.
And you're doing the investigations.
Yeah, we go there, we talk to them, hey, what's going on? So everything's good, you good, figure it out. Oh, I got to get out of here. However, whatever they feel. Then we just take notes on that, say we spoke to him, and, that's it. We just report it.
So you go through training. You get to Rikers first day. Does it meet your expectations? What you've heard about it? What's it like for you?
I don't, it's so crazy. I was really more or less going off of TV because, they show, you watch movies and stuff. And I was like, I was trying to imagine how it would be. And it was like it was like it, but then again, it wasn't, especially once they let us do a walkthrough when you get inside the housing area. That's where they lost me. Like the look of it from the outside or like maybe like the front gate and stuff. Yeah, that's like the TV stuff. But once you get into the housing area, that's where they lost me. I did not, I couldn't even, anything in there I did not expect. Let me just say that. I didn't know what it would be.
And why is that? Why'd they lose you?
I just think it was like that day, I think the first housing, it was probably like 60 inmates in there. I think that's what kind of had me to see that many people in this small, it felt small. You know what I'm saying? A small environment. I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. How many officers is here? And I see one person. I'm like, this supposed to be me? Like, this is crazy. Like, that's where they lost me. I said, nah, they lost me. So what happens if they just decide to, I don't know. Like, yo, you know what? Let's get that dude real quick. Let's just, you know what I mean? And what am I going to do? And how long is it going to take for y'all to get here? Because it's locked. So I'm just trying to, you get what I'm saying? It was a lot going through my mind at that time because I'm like, what happens if it goes left? You know what I mean? What happens? On the officer, like it's planned out. What happens? You know what I'm saying? So I thought about that part and I'm just like, but I just took it all in. I was just there and just observing at that point.
Yeah, the ratio thing I found the most interesting when I went to prison because you'd be in a unit of 400 guys saying there's one CO, in the bubble. That's it. One CO for 400 guys.
In the bubble.
Yeah, like in the unit, like they would have their own office, like at the actual facilities, like a low. Even a camp, you have one guy for 200 inmates.
Yeah.
It's a pretty low ratio.
No,
when you think about it.
Pretty low is come on, that's crazy.
Because when they hit the button, they call it compound and stuff. It still takes them 5 minutes to get there.
That's what I'm trying to say.
They gotta unlock the doors. They gotta. What if the inmates barricade the doors? Like that guy's dead.
No, that's what I'm.
There's barely any cameras. Like it just doesn't make sense. You know?
It don't.
At least have I feel like two people.
At least two people. That's what I'm saying. Well, of course, certain areas when I realized, that was just the first area I've been in,
Mm-hmm.
and why I was one officer was because it was low classification. Now, I didn't understand, stepping in there, I don't understand classifications. I don't know, you don't know nothing. So naturally, I'm just like, yo, just one off. Like, this is kind of crazy to watch 60. How are you watching 60 people? That's not realistic. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, people's behind you, people's over. But anyway, I didn't want to think too far into it. After talking to the officer, I don't remember their name or anything. I wouldn't even say their name. But long story short, after talking to the officer, I mean, it was a female too. She made it seem like, nah, this is cool. It was easy there. I'm always here. It's a steady house. She explained that to me, how it goes. And that right there already made me feel comfortable. I'm like, all right, well, if she could do this job, I mean, I should definitely be able to sign up for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think females or males are more respected at Rikers Island for COs?
Man, that's a great question. Who's more respected?
Yeah.
I'll probably just say females, but why I would say females, because guys are naturally nicer than females, naturally. Like, they protect females.
Except for the creeps that are doing the gunning and all
yeah,
that.
You know that. They never good. Yeah, I'm not, you know that already. That's what I'm saying. It ain't too many of those that's out loud, let's just say. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, majority of the time, they're going to naturally get the respect. Even if somebody tried to disrespect them, somebody will probably step in. Now, a guy, on the other hand, they like, my man, let me just see what he gonna do. They may mess with you, but it's like, let me just see if he gonna defend himself first. You know what I mean? It's one of those, so. Was
it hard to be as young as you were working at Rikers Island?
That probably was the most challenging thing because I was so conflicted. That was actually the most challenging thing, honestly, because I was working in a 4 building, RNDC, and that's when the adolescents was there. So 16, 17-year-olds. And, you run into 18-year-olds, too. It was adults, too, but I was steady with the adolescents. So, I'm 21, they 17 or 16. That ain't too far. It's like an older brother to them. I had the waves. They super into the waves. You know that. So once I had the spinners, they already like, oh, man, how you got those? And da-da-da. And then it also comes with the challenging factor where they could take you, right? They're like, oh, they want to challenge you, whatever the case is. And so I think for me, it was just more or less like, all right, Mike, you got to be this way. You know what I mean? And this way is just, as I know the terminology would be assertive. It's not over the top, because I was never an over the top person. Even so, how would I say it? If they saw me in the street, became my line forever. Said this early on. I got into it with this kid. He was doing way too much. So I ended up spraying him. It took time though, believe it or not. I gave him a lot of grace, for real. Like, I was like, yo, you really moving like a clown in here. Like, it's sad. And you know what makes it worse? I said, these are your friends and they're allowing you to move like this. Maybe because they get entertainment out of it. I'm just assuming. But you know what's the worst part about this? I know you're not a tough guy. I know you're not. And in reality, if we was outside, you would never do this to me. You wouldn't.
Did you ever look at these individuals, like the kids that were closer in age to you, and wonder how they got there? Maybe even research their charges a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot of them. Because you know what I realized, and you got experience on the other side. But a lot of people that are locked up isn't necessarily like, how would I say, as violent as we may think they are. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like most of them are even what we consider gangsters. They're entertainers. A lot of them are.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are bluffing, and they're doing a flex, or they've seen something and they picked it up, and they're not as hard as they say they are.
That's what I'm saying. But you would have to be able to identify that, because if you don't know, or you're not from the background, like I said, maybe you're not from a certain neighborhoods and stuff, then you go for the bluff all the time. Or if you just haven't had the experience in that environment, you also will go for the bluff. But once you're there long enough, and it don't take that long, but I'm going to just say just a probationary period, 2 years, you start to realize, oh man, this guy's a clown here. And when I'm saying a clown, I'm not saying it like he's a bozo. Some of them are bozos, but some of them are just, they do that for entertainment. It's not even that they're serious about what they're saying to you or anything. You get what I'm saying? They're just doing things for entertainment.
Yeah, what I compare it to is the people that say they're rich and flex that they're rich, but they're not really rich or have money, and like the social media influencers and everything like that. A lot of this is just for it goes back to the image thing too.
Goes right back to that. Everybody just want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? And I respect it, but the way you get seen as a whole is what gets respected.
What do you think was the biggest lesson that another correctional officer taught you when you were new on the job that helped you do your job well?
That's a good question. So you saying what, like, type of advice that they gave you?
Yeah, they're the best advice an officer
Best advice?
gave you.
My man Perry, right? Shout outs to him. So he told me, he was like, so I met him. I wasn't even steady yet, but it was like my second week. I ran into him literally. He worked upstairs. I worked 5 lower. He worked 5 main. So he literally ran into me. He was like, yo, what's up, man? How's everything? And now a lot of officers, when they have time on the job, a lot of them don't talk like to younger officers, or not younger officers, but newer officers, right? Kind of get stuck up, whatever the case is. But it is what it is. Him, no, he had time, but he decided to stop me right before I went downstairs. He's like, yo, man, how's everything? How's everything going on? I was like, nah, everything's good, man. You know, he's like, yo, do me a favor, man. And I was like, what happened? I ain't even say nothing. I just said everything's good. Like, I started smiling. He's like, yo, do me a favor. Don't ever change for nobody. Don't let this job change you. Best advice he ever told me.
Have you seen the job change people?
Oh, overnight. It changed inmates.
Give us an example.
I seen people come on the job. I know them because maybe I came out with them, or I met them when they came on the job. And literally, I give it a few months, maybe even a year time. They get comfortable. And before you know it, they kind of just change their whole aura up. But it's due to the environment, because they're trying to fit in and be cool. It's like high school. Like literally like high school. That's the best way I explain it. If anybody ever wanted to know what Joe is like, I'm telling you, it's just like high school or walking into a neighborhood you don't know.
Now, you mentioned they put you on a higher security unit.
Yeah. So what do you mean a higher security unit? Oh, I was in, you talking about when I went to the PREA unit?
Or there was another unit you had listed in the beginning.
High classification.
Yeah, high classification.
Yeah.
That's a higher security?
Yeah, that's higher security. Yeah.
What was that unit like? What kind of inmates were there?
Ah, man, problematic. The places nobody wanted to go. So, when you get in, they normally be like, oh, you sitting there, it's a long line, especially if you new. You sitting there, you're on the line, you're like, damn, you're hearing the post people getting in a roll call, whatever the case is. And it's like, oh yeah, Marcus, 5 lower south. It's like, oh my gosh. But my thing was everybody, so at that time frame, I'm paying attention to everybody because, I mean, that's how you learn. So from the time frame when I first came in, all the people that had time on the job was complaining about new officers complaining about having to take a bad post. So my thing is, like I told you, I never wanted to fall in line with everybody's doing. You know what I'm saying? The complaining and stuff. I'm not into that. So to me, when I'm hearing bad posts, 5 Low South was the bad post, I just was like, all right, Cap, saluted them, and I walked off.
But why are they sticking a new correctional officer on a higher classification? Shouldn't you have more experience for a job like that?
I would say yes and no. It's good to do that. Why I would say it's good, because if you could get through that, at that point you could go anywhere. And how most officers would feel when you have more time, that you should be able to work anywhere because you deserved it now because you went through something. They know you know how to jail. So at that point, it's like if you can maintain a house like that, you know, it's like, yo, you could put them anywhere, right? To do a yard, right? Because you still need respect out there. You got a bunch of people that's not respected in the yard, and now they got 2, 3 houses at one time. They're going to disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, it could be way more, you know, dangerous at that point because you got multiple houses together. You know what I'm saying? So I just think personally, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think it all depends, obviously, on the officer. But I think that principle is not a bad thing because if you just get through that little rodeo, the obstacle, I would say, especially like the first couple months, you'll be all right. You realize if this is the worst, I could definitely do this job.
Did the job start to affect your real estate business if you're working a lot of hours and because sometimes you do mandatory overtime, right?
Yeah. It was mandatory overtime. Yeah, no, it actually, well, it affected it, but it was in a good way because, like I said, the people that's in there, they need my help. So hey, I'm looking to buy a house. I'm looking to sell. You get what I'm saying? So it was easy for me to just be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to give you a call, you know, later on. Because if we all follow each other on Instagram and social media, they see me closing deals and stuff like that in between time. They naturally like, yo, how's this man in here? See the question you just had? How you in here 17 hours and then you're doing things like this? Obviously, it's not necessarily by myself because I can't do everything by myself. You have a team. You know what I'm saying? But I'm the trusted advisor. Like I said, I'm there. So making them feel comfortable that, hey, nothing's going to happen. You could trust my advice and trust the person I got you on the phone with. It all works out. And they was getting what they want and I was getting what I needed. And then we was all good.
No, we had your friend Quell on the show, who was a Rikers Island inmate, and he had a correctional officer, and he had a pretty controversial view on correctional officers and the job there, and was pretty blunt about it. What's your take on that?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my man, June. Yeah, absolutely. So when you say controversy, like, what do you mean? Like, he just...
I'd say not in a negative way. I'd say controversial from in a general standpoint because he was just very blunt about he thinks that inmates are inmates and, you know, they're locked up and it's got to be a certain way. Like he thinks there's too much coddling and they're given too many like perks, I guess you would say.
Yeah. No, I agree. The problem is, man, like he would probably attest to what I'm saying and almost everybody. The problem is, yes, they're not in there for being good. That's just the reality of it, right? And the problem is, regardless of what they end up doing in there, there's really no real consequences. As you probably already heard, they take away certain things that we can't even necessarily do to discipline them. So at that point, how do you smack an officer one day and then you get a tablet, you know, next week or something like that? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Or you put him with his friends. You get what I'm saying? And he's still comfortable. Nothing happened. Like the officer got smacked or really got seriously injured and then nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Now he got to go home to his family and he don't look the same or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And I think all of us done seen it too many times happen. And like I said, there's no repercussions. PS5 in the spot. How they got P5 before us? Like, this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, when you know, I understand what he's saying. And I think everybody that done worked on Rikers Island, because I know it's not necessarily every jail and like especially upstate and stuff like that, but I'm talking about Rikers Island specifically. You know, how could you not feel that way? You know what I'm saying? When you're hearing about an officer, this happened to him, and then, oh, what happened to naturally? Oh, so where's the inmate now? Oh, where's the guy now? Oh yeah, he's in Tulane. to Maine. Okay, you happen to go there, let's just say, or work there, and you're like, this man got the P5 in the day room, tablet in the room. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, what really happened? Nothing happened. Yo, what's up, Marcus? Yeah, bro, your man's was fronting, bro. I had to knock him out. What? Like, this sounds crazy. That's how they talk too. Like, yo, I had to knock him out. What? Yo, I laugh about it, but and I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just so crazy to me that they make it seem like it's nothing. But let us knock him out. Knock his mans out. And then nothing happened to us. Then what? They ready to retaliate. So what I'm just saying, we got to be fair here. That's all I'm just saying.
Do you think that giving inmates electronics like PS5s and tablets reduces violence, especially in a place like Rikers, or does it increase it because some inmates have it and others don't because of money, or what do you think it's like?
No, I think it does decrease violence because it just occupies their time, right? And some of them, let's be real, most of them probably don't even have PS5 at home or anything. So yeah, for sure, it occupies their time. When I was there and I experienced like a housing area with it, with the PS5 there, or it comes in for like an hour or two, it definitely calms down for the moment. Yo, the new game is here. They all in the day room, they playing, it's not they ain't thinking about fighting. And if they are thinking about fighting, they gonna wait for that card to go back. You get what I'm saying? It's just a lot of variables in it. So yeah, I believe it does. I believe it reduces it.
Do you think it sends the wrong message though?
I don't believe that necessarily.
I mean, you see a kid maybe watching a clip of an inmate playing PS5 in prison, and he's thinking that's cool to do.
It could go both ways. I think it just depends on the individual. Because jail is jail to me. I'd rather play PS5 in my house than I would play in jail any day.
Yeah.
I don't care what I've seen advertised. I mean, that's me personally, though.
No, I agree with that too.
Yeah, so I don't want to take away from anything. I think it's a good thing. I don't think it takes away or tells people to come to jail. I don't think that.
Now, as someone that's left the corrections, how dangerous is it truly to be a guard on Rikers? Because I saw something Quell post the other day on a story about how 2 Rikers Island officers got slashed. Huge gash in their head, their face. I mean, that's crazy.
No, that's insane, man. And, I don't even know what to say with it. When I see things like that or even hear about it, it just reminds me on why I made the right decision anyway, because it breaks my heart, because people coming in for a job to change their lives and help their lives, provide for their families. And for something like that to happen in there and it never happened in your whole life is insane to me. You talking about regular day-to-day people, probably never been into many fights, or they've been into a lot of fights, but nothing crazy never happened like that to them. But why things like that end up happening is because officers are not really able to do their jobs. So therefore, it's like it make you hesitate with a lot of things because you're worried about, am I going to get written up? Am I going to lose the job? Am I going to end up locked up? You remember, it's a very thin line between an inmate and an officer. So it's too much to think about. Therefore, it takes away or reduces your ability to do the job.
So do you think it's comparable to policing in today's world, what some cops are having issues with now?
Policing is insane right now. Like, I think it's worse. And I'm going to tell you why. That's why I would never sign up to do NYPD, or I never did. And I know it's needed, and I'm not against anybody that signed up to do what they have to do and provide for their family. But I'm just saying that I wouldn't do it or advise to do it because I never liked the whole principle on people know who I am and I don't know who you are. Like, anybody's walking by you. Anybody that had beef with an officer or wanted something to happen to an officer, I'm just saying, and you don't know what people got on them. It's too much to worry about. And then plus, this is the state of where they don't want you to do certain things, right? To do the job. So it's just, you got you're like the one that's really in handcuffs. It's weird, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, that hesitation, like I keep saying, it can really cost somebody their life, especially out there and as a cop, because like I said, they may have guns and whatever. You know what I mean? You're probably more in danger. You're outside.
Have you witnessed a moment while you're on the job that because someone was worried about the repercussions of doing something to defend themselves or just doing their job, they weren't able to do their job fully because of it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Listen, I'm telling you, I done seen people like literally, it takes away, especially because it's a lot of, I'm just speaking about the men on the job. Some of these men, super in shape, work out, all that good stuff. And they're good people, right? They're not soft, nothing like that. But it takes so much from them, like where, let's just say an inmate talking crazy to them, you know, basically antagonizing them in their pants. Yo, come over here again. It's going to be, it sounds crazy, but like they can't, at that point, it's a lot you got to hold back. But while you're holding back, it's not because, you're soft. It's because you're thinking about, damn, I don't want to lose this job. Everybody's situation is different, man. And it's sad because it only comes down to like, I don't want to lose the job to feed my family. It has nothing to do with defending myself. And defending myself should be the number one thing on the list. It should be. At least I feel that way. If I could defend myself outside, why can't I defend myself at my job? That don't even make any sense.
Do they have body cameras in there?
Yeah, now they do. Yeah, body cameras. I think that came into play, I think in like 2019, I think, or something like that.
Is it beneficial to have them?
I think it is. I only why I would say that because now you're supposed to turn it on soon as you're even going. Like let's just say you get irate and you're upset. Automatically, I'm supposed to turn it on. The whole idea to turn it on just in case it's you can kind of see what led up to the incident. You get what I'm saying? Now, sometimes it don't happen because the heat of the moment, you ain't thinking about no camera. You thinking about your life. You thinking about what's going on, right? He's with his friends or whatever. Like, it's too much. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot. Cameras, I think what they should do, and they probably can't do, of course, but what they probably should do is probably make the cameras, forget the body cam. The cameras in the sky should be the everything. You know what I'm saying? But it don't have no audio. That's the problem. So you're just going off of body language and stuff. And everybody know the cameras is up there. So it's like one of those things where everybody's just being an actor. They know how to play the camera, not to come off, like they antagonize you. But yet again, they talking to you crazy. And, everybody, we still got personal lives, man. We taking care of our family, kids, going through things with our spouses. All types of things is happening. You know what I mean? Then I'm coming into work and this man talking to me crazy like I'm a little kid. You know what I mean? It's just, it's ridiculous. It's a lot.
Tell us about working in the PREA unit.
In the PREA unit. That was a cool unit. It was a really cool unit. It was honestly, besides the yard, that was cool in the yard just because I was able to see all the jails on the island and see different, I met a lot of people, depths, captains, other officers, and, basically all types of inmates, and all types, literally,
And that's the Prison Rape Elimination Act.
Yeah, so like the transgenders, like you work with everybody, literally. And it was cool though because it gave me a scope of like the whole prison system, I would just say. Something I would have never seen if I would have just stood in the full building.
And what was your biggest takeaway from that?
It's bigger than one person. So like the things like people don't understand is politics, what you hear it, but it's really political. It's a political stance. And it's why I'm saying it's a political stance because at the end of the day, if you lean one way, somebody else is going to suffer. You lean this way, somebody else is going to suffer. Somebody has to suffer. It just depends on the time of who you want to suffer at that time. Whatever you find to be important right now, that's the decision that they're going to make. And it has nothing to do with on a personal note.
How many pre-investigations would you say are reported on average? Maybe even a day or?
It all depends on the jail you work because we all work different jails. So like I worked 2 different jails. Well, I worked all of them like on one day basically, but you was steady with a jail. So usually the biggest jail is the jail that gets usually the most. So at the time frame, AMKC was the biggest jail that was open, and I think they had 2,500 inmates or something like that. And yeah, pretty much that would be the jail that gets, if I had to say an average a day, man, you could be looking at maybe like 10, 15, maybe even 20.
How many of those proved to be accurate and true?
I can't even really say because it's like ongoing. So it's like something that, it's like, oh, is he telling the truth or he's just trying to move his housing area? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it's not true or that it is true. My job is just to investigate. To me, I never found nothing that was necessarily true. They just end up, all right, we're going to move him over here. Because whatever's happening is probably not possibly happening maybe on camera.
Now, were you investigating just inmates or guards too that they'd reported on?
For me, I was just doing the inmates.
So it would be a different division if there was a guard pre-investigation?
No. If I'm not mistaken, it'd be the same. I just personally never had to speak to an officer.
What was like a common denominator in these cases?
Common denominator. Usually it was probably a like transgender or yeah, usually like a transgender. A lot of transgenders was complaining because they're with males, but they look like females.
So these are biological males turned female?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, some of them is just in the process, like transitioning. So, like literally, So some of them I didn't even know. Well, it says it on the card, so that's how I know. But when you see them, sometimes they don't look like the card. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long they've been locked up or when they start the process. So I'm seeing a guy that looks like a guy, and then out of nowhere, I see him. I'm looking for him, and I'm like, "Hey, is Brown in here?" And he's like, "I'm right here." It's like, "Oh, okay, my fault. What's going on?" My name is Marcus. I just introduced myself, and then from there, he'd pull him to the side usually, and then I would just talk to him.
Would there be females turned males house there or no?
Female turned male?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can happen. I just never dealt with that scenario before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they are housed at Rikers?
Yeah. It's either or. So I think it was something, I don't know when it came up. I feel like it was like a year ago or something. But it was a case where somebody was no, I think it was when I was there. So it was a time frame where somebody wanted to go into Rosie's. They was transitioning into a female. And they wouldn't allow him to do it because they felt like he was, I forgot what was the whole thing. They just wouldn't allow him to do it though. And I think they did do it and then they took him right back out. But he was like, started complaining. He was calling up prayer almost every day, literally.
What do you think is the biggest thing that needs to be changed at Rikers Island?
The biggest thing. I think definitely giving the officers the power back. And when I say the power back, not to overuse the power, but just give them the power to defend themselves, And I think definitely, see, when I was there, and I don't know, it's a lot could have changed. I left in 2021. But at the time frame, they was housing, gang members together. To me, that was never, it was, I guess, looked at as a good thing because they stay calm. But the problem is then they're retaliating. When they upset, they retaliate on the officer. And now it's more of them compared to the officer. So it was like more dangerous for the officer. So I would have said change that. Make sure that the cells are secure because that was a whole crazy thing at that time frame when I started, man. I'm talking about later they could come out anytime, you hear me? Anytime. Like imagine the midnight. It's 2 at night, right? 2 in the morning. And you sitting there. I've been there 15 hours, something like that. I'm sitting there and out of nowhere, my man's like, "Yo, Marcus, make sure you wake me up, bro, for the phones." And it's like, "Yo, bro, what are you doing outside your cell?" Like this, you know what I mean? That wasn't good. So I hope that they secure all of the cells. That will help a lot. And the overtime, I think they need to hire more officers, but they needed some type of incentive to make people want to be officers and stay officers.
What would be that incentive if you had to pick?
Going home. Yo, anybody would stay on that job if they could do 8 and skate. I promise you. You will have more officers on the job.
So that's the biggest reason why people leave and
That's
drop
why
off.
people leave. If they can have a life outside that job, I guarantee they would stay.
Yeah, it's like that in any job. People want a work-life balance.
Everybody wants that, man. And that job don't provide that at all.
It sucks the life out of you.
Oh, you're done. You're so worn down. All the money in the world wouldn't matter. You're done. You're done. And then health-wise, I've seen a lot of people literally come on a job all in shape, and they just go left. And it don't take them that long, man. I see it gradually happen. 2 years. Once somebody go from brand new to 5 years, you see a drastic difference in the weight.
What's something that the public doesn't know about Rikers Island that you think they should know about?
That the public don't know? I feel like at least I feel this way. No, you know what? What the public don't know is how hard it is to be a correctional officer. They really don't understand the challenge of that. That's a task that many people Either they go and they just can never do it another day, like me, and they go in there one day, 1 week, and they out of there once they see and feel what it feels like to have to deal with the incarcerated. I really think if they understood that, they would give correctional officers more praise and more grace, and they deserve it. They deserve it for real.
Why didn't you make it to that 10-year goal that you had to stay there? Why did you leave after 5?
I left after 5 mainly just because I hit a ceiling. Like I said, I made it to headquarters, and at the time frame I did my first flip, it was in 2020. I flipped my first house, and I made 6 figures, and I looked at myself and I said, my shout out to my man Moscoso, that was my partner at the time, and I remember him going on vacation. They switched, so they love to switch things on you. They like, hey, you got to start going into the jails once a week, like to work there, like to basically do 8 hours. And I'm like, okay, all right, it sucked, but it's like, all right, cool, where I'm going. So they put us in random jails, whatever needed the help. So I was doing that. Then out of nowhere, it was close to his birthday and close to mine too. It was this was in July, like 2 weeks before my birthday or something like that. And he was about to go on vacation. So when he goes on vacation, I gotta do this jail by myself. The prayer unit, I gotta go see these, and it's like I said, 20 different people. I still gotta assess certain people, whatever the case is. And he was like, yo, bro, they talking about changing our schedule. So you're not gonna be off. I think I had Sunday, Mondays off. They're gonna change it to like you're off like Tuesday. It was supposed to be a whole nother day. No, I had Saturday, Sunday off, sorry. I think. Yeah, I had Saturday, Sunday off. He said they're gonna change. They changed it everybody's. I said, hold on. They changing our schedules? Why? We worked so hard to get here. You know what I'm saying? Then they change the schedule again? I'm lost. He's like, yeah, bro, they're gonna change it. But he laughs. So I'm like, bro, that's not funny. Like, I laugh too. I'm like this. I'm like, but bro, that's not funny though. That's not cool, like at all. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's like, yeah, bro, and I'm about to go on vacation. I say, yo, look, I'm gonna be honest, bro, me too. And I ain't coming back off this vacation. So he like, yo, Marcus, stop playing with me, man. I'm like, yo, bro, I know I'm laughing, smiling, but I'm dead serious. I'm out of here. They changed my schedule. I'm out of here. And literally next week they changed the schedule, and I literally left.
Do you feel like you made the right choice?
Yeah, it was the right choice, for sure. It was the best choice for me. Because I did hit the ceiling in corrections. I never wanted to be a captain. I didn't want to be a dep, a chief, anything like that. So at that point, I made the headquarters. It's not really nothing else I would have wanted to do there.
Do you ever have thoughts about going back since you left?
Nah, absolutely not. No offense.
What if real estate didn't work out?
Real estate is going to work out.
No,
Same
but
way,
if it didn't, like when you had left?
I would do something else. Now, if I had to do, right, that's a great question. So if real estate didn't work out for me, then I would have did something alongside of real estate. It still would have been real estate related. So maybe it wasn't sales, maybe not as a broker, but it would have been like, all right, maybe I'll be a manager or property manager. It would have been something along the lines that's aligned with me and what I want out of my life.
Do you ever think about like, wow, I can't believe I worked that job? Like, because it's so different than what you do, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I feel like ex-inmates compare it to like, I can't believe I was in prison.
Yeah. No, it's funny because sometimes it is there, but I don't have really a reason to bring it up unless I met another officer and I want to relate with them. Like, just say if you was a seller or something, I was talking to you, and you're like, I'm like, oh, naturally, be like, oh man, what is it that you do? Oh yeah, man, I'm a correction officer. Oh yeah. Now I would be like, yo, man, listen, God bless you, and naturally you'd be like, yeah, why you say that, man? Yeah, man, it's a lot in there. It's like, yo, I used to work that job. He gonna be like, word, yeah, where you was at? So like at that point, I would relate with him, and I understand. You know what I'm saying? I understand like everything about correctional officers, what they need. You know what I'm saying? Even the things that they don't even know that they need, I understand it. So my thing is, I left that job not only for me, I left it for them because I wanted to be that person that they seen leave, right? That most people feel like, oh man, yo, I can't leave this job. I heard that plenty of times. And to me, I used to be like, yo, if this ain't serving you no more, you got to move on, right? Your health, your wealth, everything. If it's not serving you, you got to move on. Your happiness, that stuff matters in life. That matters more than any forms of money, any way you could get it, you know? So my thing is, I left the job not only for, myself, I left it for them. Because when people see me and they see the success I'm having in something that they know I do, it's like, yo, man, Marcus really doing that, man. Like, that makes other people believe that whatever they want to do, they can do it too, which is true. If they believe it, though. I believe them. If they don't believe it, it's probably true. But if they do believe that they could be that, outside the job, then it's true.
Do you think working corrections has made you more compassionate?
Yeah, I think so. What it did was it I always say it kept me grounded because it was a point in time where I kind of disconnected from where I'm from. Like being from the hood, things like that. People thought this blows my mind all the time, but it's funny to me. People thought I was from Long Island. And I used to be looking at them like, yo, bro, I'm from the Bronx. Like, but what it is self-development started in 2014 for me, the whole Ty Lopez program, mentorship with Jeff, and it stuck with me. I'm reading books. So, of course, my etiquette is going to change. You know what I'm saying? Who I'm associated with, what I'm reading, what I'm consuming. So at that point, I learned how to speak more professional, and it became me. I remember when all I knew how to do was really speak. I wasn't terrible with speaking. My mannerisms was always there. But the professionalism side or the slang, oh, man, it was bad, man. It was bad, but I had to change it, over time. It took time, but I changed it, and now it's me. So to hear, oh yeah, you from Long Island, like as if I don't understand, like I grew up with white picket fences is comedy to me. When I'm like, yo, this is not good. But I guess it is good because it's nothing wrong with that. That's how they see me. That's how they see me. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that's good though. They see me as a professional. We're in there to be professional. We're not in there to be like them. Even though I can resonate with them, I can resonate with any one of them, right? I know the friend. Like it's crazy because you see people that you even know in jail. It's crazy. You see when you see the floor card, you're like, man, he's from Sedgwick Avenue. I'm like, that's where I'm from. That's so crazy. He just a year younger than me or whatever, however old he is. So it's just like the things you see. These people be like, oh, you're not from here, but it's like, it kept me grounded. It brought me back to really who I am. That's the best thing I can say about corrections. I gotta always thank corrections for that. Because it's like, it reminded me of really who I am, where I come from, and that's why, like, leaving a job is so meaningful to me and doing what I'm doing now, because I'm like, this right here is who I aspire to be, and this is right here I want to help lead other people that are incarcerated, whether they're officers or inmates, that they could do something meaningful for themselves when they do decide to move on from that job. The job doesn't identify you, and the situation doesn't identify you, even if you was an inmate.
So do you think all inmates are bad people?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And that anyone can change?
Anybody could change if they want to. It's not up to me. I could talk to them all day. I used to do it. Trust me. Countless. I used to literally, middle of the night, especially in my steady housing area, and they, kids, I used to literally stand up, literally, walk the tail, you do your tour, and they'd be like, yo, Marcus, yo, bro, hear this real quick. I just started rapping. I'm like, yo, let me hear it. They just start rapping, whatever. You know what I mean? And it was so entertaining to see everybody stand up and they come to the glass. And like, I'm literally standing there and they're rapping for me. And they feel good. They feel like they're going to make it somewhere when they do eventually get out. They really just started rapping and stuff like that. Like, that's cool, man. It's inspiration. Even though we're in that negative environment, if people knew I was doing things like that, like to even see that on camera, you'd be like, yo, wow, there's great officers out there. It's not just about telling them what to do. That ain't getting them nowhere. It's about asking them the right questions. What you gonna do when you leave? A lot of them don't think about that. They just want to get back to the streets as soon as possible. But what are you gonna do when you get there? No plan? Listen, you probably gonna end up right back here. You have no plan. Because you're just gonna move, you're just gonna go with the wind. You need a plan in this life. It don't matter what age you are, you need a plan.
Tell the audience what you're doing now, your podcast, everything.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, with me, I'm a real estate broker, servicing the areas of New York State. That's my phone?
Yeah, that's yours.
That was? Oh, yeah. I'm servicing the areas of New York. Nah, this is crazy. My fault. Nah, somebody on my lawn.
Real estate deal.
Yeah, it's hot. But, yeah, I'm servicing the areas in New York State, Westchester County, and obviously the 5 boroughs. So if you know anybody looking to sell, buy any real estate, definitely feel free, give me a call. Any questions, right? Whether it's renting as well. And with the podcast, me and my partner, Melisha, we got a show called Living Your Truth Show. For us, man, we focus, like, we're like, Living Your Truth Show is like the guide, how do I say? It's the guide to the journey of real love, right? So for us, we focus on making sure people live in their truth, right? And the truth in their relationships. Because I feel like a lot of people, they get with people and they put on a facade. It's something like, kind of like what we were talking about earlier with jail. and people get around each other and they get in this environment or they get with people and they want to impress them so bad to get them and then lose them. It's not to really maintain, right? They have the right intention because they want them and they really want them and they want to impress them. There's nothing wrong with that. But anybody could buy a car. How many people could keep one?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what the show is about. It's about keeping your love partner, your life partner, finding the life partner if you don't already have one. But the first thing you got to do is be yourself.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you too, man.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have the links to all your stuff in the description.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I love everything you're doing. And yeah, you are a big reason why this world is spinning the right way. You understand me? Because you're giving great people the platform. And I think stories is how we learn. You know what I'm saying? Hearing other people's stories and understanding how much we actually do resonate with each other.
Yeah, and just hearing where they come from, you know?
Yeah.
We're all, you know, not so much different after all. Like, we've all grow up kind of in like different places, but we have similar values or similar thoughts or similar experiences. And it's always interesting to see, like, some people write in the comments, oh, why do you focus so much on childhood? It's because we want to know the person before they either did the thing that they did to land in prison or before they became that cop or that correctional officer or whatever, you know? It just, to me, that's interesting.
No, that's true. And that's so interesting because I believe our inner child, like, we're adults, but we're still like children at the same time. Like, that inner child is still in us. We still like to have fun. That's why entertainment is still the number one, like, thing in the world. Entertainment. Think about that. It's not about money, nothing. It's entertainment because we're all like kids. It's just adult bodies.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate you though, Ian, for sure.
Of course.
All right, man.